Hey, quick question for you. How do you get people to listen to your podcast? And how do you monetize an entire network of shows? These were just a few of the questions that were asked by podcasters like you during our last Libsyn office hours. And in this video, we're going to take a look at some of those questions that just might be the key to helping you gain new listeners and monetize your show. First up, longtime podcaster Bart Shore asked a question that just about every podcaster has wondered. How do I get more people to listen to my show?
What are other ways to get people to listen to the podcast?
I think understanding where your audience lives is the first step to getting people to listen to your show. So like for me, I do a movie review podcast I do once a week. So for me, I have thought about, okay, who is the audience member who listens to this stuff? Where are they going to live at? And that could be online. That could be also in person. I would immediately think of where are online forums where those people gather. Can I be part of those online forums, have a link to my show in my profile for those online forums, and just contribute to the conversation. I think as long as you aren't like coming off like, hey, I just did this episode on blah blah blah, go check it out, then I think you're going to have a win there. But I really believe that audience engaging with those people where they live, if it's Facebook, by all means, go use that.
Whatever worked when you were on the radio to get people listening to the radio could also work to get people listening to your podcast. If we're talking music from the 50s, folks who are 70 plus years old, go drop a couple flyers off at a nursing home, or go, over there and agree to do like a live session, right? Play some songs, talk about it with the audience, just get people interested in you, right? Get people who want to hear from you. And then at the end, tell them, hey, by the way, I can't be here every day, but you can listen more at this show that I've been doing for years. It's really easy. And then leave them those easy instructions, right? It doesn't just have to be online. There are real people who you probably run into every day who are your potential audience. Find an easy way to let them know too.
Do you have a massive back catalog of episodes? If you do, you might be wondering, how do I make changes to my title, episode number, and author field across my entire back catalog without having to go into each episode individually? Have no fear, the bulk editor is here. Brett says, we're having trouble with episode numbers. Is there a way to bulk edit them? We have over 150 episodes published. Oh, congratulations on 150 episodes, Brett.
Yes, it's quite good.
Yeah. I can go ahead and show the dashboard again here and show how you can do that. So let me share this. All right, so here I have another test episode. This one has a bunch of different episodes, and so if you go ahead and click this little check mark, it's going to pop up all of these check boxes, and so you'll go ahead and choose all the ones that you want. If you click at the top here, it'll select all of them for that page, and it saves it as you're going through the pages. So say you want the top 4 pages there. So say you want to do that. So now all of those 40 episodes are selected. You can go ahead and click edit. And then you can adjust things here, obviously automatically, or manually rather, or you can go ahead and select this. So episode number, if you want to increment top to bottom, bottom to top, it'll go ahead and show up here. So if you do that, click apply. Now all of these are numbered 1 to 40 because that's what I chose. Or if I want bottom to top, it'll automatically switch that. And then when you have everything set as you want it, you can go ahead and click save all. So that way you don't have to go through each individual episode, change it, save it, change it, save it. You can go ahead and do that here.
Monetizing one podcast might feel like a challenge, especially when trying to navigate the different avenues you can go down with podcast ads or memberships. But how do you monetize an entire network of shows efficiently? I currently produce 2 podcasts under the umbrella of a local newspaper, 156-year-old family-owned newspaper. Wow, that's awesome. We're building multiple shows under one newspaper brand. What's the recommended ad structure for a small but growing network?
My thought process would be for a small but growing network of shows where each show is not going to have a significant number of downloads, but the entire network overall could have a good number of downloads, is you could sell the entire network inventory. Is you could say, across 5 shows, we get 5,000 downloads, and turn to an advertiser and say, would you like to buy those 5,000 impressions? You will be heard across all of these different shows, right? That's probably the best way to get advertisers interested, because they might look at the one show with 4,500 downloads and be like, okay, I'll take that one. I don't really want the one with 100 or 200 downloads. So kind of pulling that all together and offering, advertising across the network is one way to do it. And again, that could be done fairly well with dynamic insertion technology. It could be done with baked-in ads, although, later on you may wish that you had access to those previous episodes inventory for new sponsors. The other thing you could do at this point is, instead of worrying about ads per se, is more of like partnership arrangements. So I've seen where a lot of shows now, like, they'll actually change their cover art and say, this podcast brought to you by so-and-so, and then include that marketing, include that brand name in show notes, in social. It's more like a brand partnership than actually an advertising agreement. And it's also probably a lot easier to secure something for, say, 6 months or 12 months versus, maybe something that's like 4 to 6 weeks.
One question that just about every podcaster has wondered from time to time, especially when looking at their stats, is how many downloads actually make your podcast a success? Well, the answer might surprise you.
Renee asks, I know a successful podcast can be described in many ways. How many episode downloads would you consider successful? I don't necessarily view downloads as the mark of success.
I agree. There is no number of downloads that automatically makes you a success or not a success. I would use my downloads mostly to make sure that I'm moving in the right direction. I have met some podcasters who had 100 downloads and were wildly successful, not only like to themselves, but also in accomplishing their business goals. And I've met people with 50,000 downloads who felt like a failure. So you really have to figure out why you're doing this, what you need to get out of it, and then measure it against that.
I think starting with what success means to you is going to be really important, because I also have worked with podcasters who have 50,000 downloads, but because they have 100,000 or 1 million followers on YouTube, they felt like they failed. And I also have worked with like B2B podcasts, business to business podcasts, where they're only having 100 downloads a month, but they have secured like 10 new clients, which pays much more than they're spending on their podcast. So in that sense, they're very successful there,
These were just a small sample of the amazing questions that podcasters like you brought to our last Libsyn office hours. If you want your questions answered live by Matthew, Emilio, and myself, do me a favor and register for our next Libsyn office hours. Use the link in the description to save your spot and register today.